flowery language as Dave McClure uses, but one great quote from the article he sent out was, the primary reason I think most startups fail is a lack of customer acquisition at reasonable economics. So I've seen a lot of engineers ship something, they're like, this is cool, this widget is awesome. And you're like, what problem are you solving? Does anybody care? Is it worth anything? Can you make any money with it? Well, Dave, you don't understand. We're going to launch it with a freemium model. And that's not a financial model. It's a go-to-market strategy, but it's not a financial model. So I'm going to give you some data on this. A couple of notes to make this easier on you. dkparker.com is my blog. If you go dkparker/blog or just dkparker.com and click on blog, all of these slides from last week and this week are there. Daniel will have them up on NWEN as well. So, but they're all there for you, and the video will be up as well.
Really quickly click on that. We're creating a page that'll be just for this. So if someone asks me about the video, Dave, send it to me. It should be up hopefully tomorrow with everything moving forward on this.
Check. So I realized I posted it last week on SlideShare, and then in SlideShare is usually really good, and then I went back like 3 days later and it said, your thing didn't upload, and I'm like, oh crap, you guys wanted your homework and you didn't get any homework, and I know you're like, I'm doing it late. So I'm going to touch on a few things here about business model, give you some resources to think about it from a business model perspective, because the other axis that you're after is, if you're going to spend all this time from your life to go do this, you should make some money at it, or at least have an ambition to make some money at it, okay? All right, so B2B models, business to business. How many of you are selling business to business? You're selling to a business that's going to write a check. All right, so from a business to business standpoint, here are some of your variables. In business to business, you can sell through inside sales. That's starting picking up the phone and dialing a number and making a call. You can sell outside sales, the way Dave and I learned how to go sell, which is you go cold call your way through businesses, right? You can sell web direct, right? Which is people are searching for whatever it is you're looking for. And next week, Justin and Daniel will walk you through the mechanics, really a step-by-step mechanics of how to test whether anybody's actually searching for this thing you're creating or not, which will be awesome because you'll have some tools you can go like, I'm going to go test this, right? That's direct sales. Indirect sales is what's called channel sales. Any of you guys ever work with Microsoft? So Microsoft has this massive channel. So they come up with a new product, they launch it into a channel, and the channel generally sells it. The problem is you guys don't happen to have a channel in your back pocket, so that's not generally one of your options. And the thing you need to know about channels is they don't really care about your product. They are in this demand fulfillment business, not the demand creation business. And if you're launching a new, better thing, they're giving an example. So I was in the services business when I first left telecommunications and went into software. And somebody came to us and said, hey, we have this great intranet in a box, and if you use our product, you don't have to use as much services. Well, the problem was we sold services. I wasn't really interested in their product because we liked Microsoft software because for every dollar in software you bought, there was $4 or $5 in services required to install it and maintain it, configure it. We were in the services business. So we loved selling Microsoft products where we hated selling products that didn't generate services. Right? So channels are in the demand fulfillment business. They're not in the evangelism business. So if you have a new innovative idea, they don't really care about yours. They care about selling what they sell. Web direct, pay-per-click, SEO, banner ads, all of those things we're going to talk about next week, but that's one of the options. So if you look at selling your product, you've got direct sales, indirect sales, web direct sales, or retail. Now, if it comes to retail, I've spent some time in retail, but I can't really help you with retail, so there's probably better places for you to get research with that. But you need shelf space, and you need packaging, and thankfully we don't ship boxes of software anymore, which is awesome, right? But those are your methods. You have to pick one if you're in business to business. Now, with that, this is a very detailed chart of your business to business sales process, every step in the sales process. I have suspects, people who should be able to buy my product. I have prospects. I have what's called qualified prospects. Those are people I've talked to who said they have a willingness to buy. And I will tell you, for first-time entrepreneurs, I hear this one a lot, where people are like, so I was out talking to a customer today, and I'm like, really? I didn't think you had a product yet. Well, I don't, but I was out talking to this customer. I'm like, they were a prospect. And you need to get very firm about that, because when you're out talking with investors, And you're like, I was talking to a customer today, and they're like, I think he just lied to me, right? Because they're like, you don't have a product, you don't have a customer. Until somebody writes you a check for something or gives you a credit card to scan, they are prospects. So be clear on that. You have qualified prospects with different levels of complexity, right? What do they need to qualify? Can they buy? You have to do a proposal, then you have to close. Each one of these steps in the process has statistics associated with their probability of closing with a couple of factors. Average revenue per transaction, and then there's this one big variable that people forget about in their forecast. It's called time. How long does it take from the time I first talk to Adam to the time Adam actually makes a decision to purchase? And the thing where forecasts go terribly wrong in business to business is not allocating enough time for that sales cycle. How many people are going to shop you against? How many competitors are they going to look at? What's their reason to buy? And you need to include time in your calculation of how you do that. So that's the business to business model. Okay. There are 13 consumer internet business models. You are not the 14th, as they said last week. These are 13 of them. This data is from Steve Carpenter's blog, The World According to Carp. The link is there. It's on there as well. You can do a search for it. It is terrific research. What he did was he sat down and said, "Here are anybody doing a marketplace? You have buyers and sellers, kind of like eBay. Anybody? Do you have a marketplace? So the marketplace numbers here. Number 5 is marketplace. He uses an example of Etsy and Prosper. Your key monetization drivers are how many listings do you have? What's the listing fee? What's the sales? And what are the commissions? So for each of these 13 models, what he does is he's giving you the key metrics for each one. So anybody doing commerce? Okay, all of the numbers are here for commerce. Not only are the key metrics there, but he's actually broken them down to get to $10 million in run rate of revenue, what your conversion ratios need to be. And I will tell you, this has been very spot on. So I'll give you an example. So back to marketplace. To get to a marketplace, remember I said we need listings, listing fees, sales, and commissions. So I need 2 million listings at 20 cents a listing will generate 12.5 million and a 3.5% commission. That gets you to a $10 million annualized run rate business. So if you're a marketplace, if you're e-commerce, pick one of these 13. Lead generation. This is a great one. You need, in lead generation, how many unique visitors, how many offers viewed. For lead generation, I need 3 million unique visitors and I need 3 million unique views. Conversion ratio is 0.6%. Because when you go out and look at your business, one of the things you're going to do is, I think we're going to get a our content is awesome. We're going to get a 20% conversion. No, you're going to get a 0.6% conversion if you're doing lead gen. And then to get that into something that works, you need $50 per every lead to do a $10 million run rate business. So Liz was with me last semester for Founders Institute. We had one person who was in the lead gen business. They took these numbers from this, went out and they're like, we know we're doing better than this. And 2 months later, they're like, we get 0.6%. So these numbers have been back tested with a bunch of companies. My point is that you may have a unique idea, you do not have a unique business model. Business models are proven. And to David's point, what you're after is you're after a proxy business model when you go out and you say, I have this brilliant new idea, this is what we're going to do, but I can tell you, we are in the marketplace business. Marketplace models are this way. And somebody's going to go, I disagree with you. And you're like, really? I have all the data, and all the data says we need to do X. Now, if you're like, we're going to do 20% conversions, and it's 0.2% conversions, right? This is just to help you not be delusional and be like, I see how we get to $100 million in like year 3. So then you get down to we went through that last time. So here's the real breakdown to the detail for commerce. 4 million uniques, conversion rate of 10%, gets me to so many 400,000 monthly buyers, average spend of $50, total revenue of 20 million, gross margin of 50%, gross margin dollars of 10 million, 30% marketing, $3 million in marketing with a gross margin of $7 million. So for every one of these 13 categories, he's broken it down that way. So super useful data. Particularly if you've ever tried to find anybody else's numbers. David alluded to some of his numbers tonight, but most people don't share a lot of their numbers with you. These are super helpful. Subscription model, same thing. You need 1 million uniques, 1% conversion, gets you to 10,000 monthly new buyers. You see where this is going. You can come back and test this against yours. All right. One other thing I wanted to tell you real quick. It's not there. All right. So here's what I'm going to have you do now. Is we're just going to. I wanted to crank through this because I wanted to give you another way to think about your idea in the context of how you're going to make money. If the biggest problem is cost of customer acquisition at a reasonable economics, right? You have to be thinking right now. If you're thinking about product, that's awesome. But you also need to be thinking about price and margin and competition. And because you're building something new, you shouldn't lead with a discount. Right? What you really want to do is focus down into what is the customer that gets the biggest value out of this thing that we're doing. Not who can I give this to the cheapest to for free. Because what you run into when you talk about free with folks is you only validated that, yeah, I kind of have a need for that, maybe, but you really need to go out with a price point and have them react. If they're like, that's crazy expensive, or wow, that's really a good deal. Right? But if you lead with free, this will take you more than a year longer to go test than it should. So don't lead with free. You're like, but everybody's doing premium. No, don't lead with free. It doesn't give you much data. All right, we're going to take a 10-minute break. Come grab some more food, grab a drink. We're going to go to Q&A, and then